The major manufacturer of garden railway equipment is LGB from Germany, which is marketed in part over here as the Lake George and Boulder Railway. The name like ours, we just had to call our railway the same. So this end of the pond is Lake George, and the other end will have a town called Boulder.
Laying the track is quite a process. First, a 6-inch deep by 5-inch wide trench is excavated, and this is lined on both sides with plastic lawn edging. A strip of weed stock is laid along the bottom, and then it is filled in with crushing fines, which is the residue from the local stone crushing plant. At approximately 3-foot intervals, a wooden block is inserted. These provide anchor points for the track to be nailed to. At the same time as laying the track work, the various electrical cables also need to be laid. There are cables for mains power to the transformers and low voltage cables for track, lights, point motors and animation motors. So a lot of forward planning has to be done to make sure we have the right cables in the right places for when the models are added.
The track bed lining is supported by stakes on the curves and by stakes attached to side rails on the straight. As in all projects, you learn as you go along. This was the first section laid, and you can see it's a little bit wobbly. There are no side rails or stakes on the lining. This whole section will be redone as we progress along the track. We found these miniature trees at Canadian Tire for $4 each, so we bought a forest. Before finding these, the cheapest miniature we found was over $20, and that was in a sale. Maggie looks after the planting and the rockeries for landscaping. And those sexy knee pads have been godsends to the both of us.
The first section has now been relayed. Before the track is added, the crushing fines have to be tamped down and levelled. When the track is in place, more crushing fines are added as ballast between the sleepers, and this has to be brushed in and smoothed so that it does not interfere with the trains or the moving parts of the points. At the completion of each section, we run a train around to check that all of the rail joints are okay and that the track is true with no unseen bumps or kinks that could cause derailments. Also, the caboose that is being towed here is fitted with a sprung-loaded cleaning pad for the rails.
Of course, once the track has been passed as operational, we can allow passengers on board. As with any major construction, there are always lots of sightseers who want a close-up view. As we live in bear country, we had to have one living on our railway, and here he is, giving us a wave just outside the old log cabin in the hills.
All of the buildings will be fitted with lights. The mill is motor driven and all of the railway points will be motor driven by our switches on the control panels. We may even incorporate some daylight sensors and faders for the lights later.
It's early November and we are having our first snow. This is just a gentle covering and is just enough to add some realism to the layout. It's quite amazing how a light covering of white stuff can quite dramatically change the look and feel of something like our model railway. Well, the snow melted and the sun shone, and we got the circuit completed in time to run our first trains before the winter really set in. The winter is here with a vengeance now. Not much snow yet, but it's bitterly cold. This ice dome has formed over the pump outlet in the pond. As the water was splashing outwards, it froze, and the dome was formed within a couple of days.
We thought that this snowplough would be useful, but after the first real snowstorm we can only just see where it is thanks to the searchlight on the top. The snows kept on coming this year, no chance of a barbie. And all train services were well and truly cancelled until the spring.